It's Thursday the 19th of January and welcome to From the South. Hundreds of inmates from rival drug gangs clashed inside a Brazilian prison where 26 inmates were killed. This is the latest of an ongoing series of bloody uprisings in the country's prisons. Police fired rubber bullets and tear gas canisters into the yard of the ALCACUZ prison as helicopters buzzed in overhead. Forest fires continued to rage in southern Chile on Wednesday. Dozens of firefighters worked to contain the blaze. The fire approached urban areas by the northern slopes, forcing the evacuation of at least 25 people in the community of La Gloria. The fire was difficult to contain due to high temperatures and low humidity. Rescuers are working frantically to free 7 miners trapped for 3 days in a tunnel covered by a landslide in southern Peru. One miner managed to escape early on Tuesday, but according to an official emergency, workers were not notified of the incident until late Tuesday night. Mexican authorities have expressed concern over the leak of a shocking surveillance video that shows a teenager shooting his teacher and classmates before committing suicide at a school in the northeastern city of Monterrey. Early investigations have revealed the shooter was part of a closed group on Facebook called Legion Hulk, a site that promotes hashtags like More Massacres in Mexico. The peace delegations of the Colombian government and the ELN announced on Wednesday that they agreed to start the official public phase of peace negotiations on February the 7th. The ELN will release Congressman Odi Sanchez Montes de Oca on February the 2nd, and the government will pardon 2 ELN members simultaneously. Washington will turn into a virtual fortress ahead of Donald Trump's presidential inauguration on Friday. The US Capitol is bracing for the protesters expected during Trump's swearing-in. Police have forecast that some 900,000 people, both supporters and opponents, will flood Washington for the inauguration ceremony. Adama Barrow was sworn in as Gambia's new president at a ceremony in the country's embassy in neighbouring Senegal. Yahya Jammeh, who has ruled as Gambia's president since 1994, has refused to step down, and a military-imposed deadline for the transfer of power has passed. Barrow has called for international support. According to the UN, despite a nationwide cessation of hostilities, food and water supplies are in critical levels in the Syrian towns of Deir al-Zor and Damascus. Aid convoys are still being blocked, both by the regime and opposition groups, according to the UN Special Envoy for Syria's Special Advisor, Jan England. A huge avalanche swallowed up a luxury mountain hotel in central Italy after a series of strong earthquakes rocked the area. Roughly 30 people were buried under tons of snow and debris. According to the Civil Protection Department, just 2 bodies had been recovered. Rescue workers have continued their search for other victims or possible survivors. Paris has opened its second reception centre for migrants aimed at sheltering women and families. The first 20 people were welcomed at the Humanitarian Centre near the capital, which is managed by a French non-profit organisation. The NGO plans to shelter up to 400 people by March 2017, when the construction of the site will be fully completed. Former Real Madrid striker Robinho has been recalled by Brazil to face Colombia in a charity match to raise funds for the victims of the CHAPECOENSE air crash. The Atlético Mineiro player was called up alongside his former Santos colleague Diego to play in the game. More than 70 people were killed in the crash in the Colombian jungle. More on these and other stories on our website telesurtv.net/English.